Maybe I'm indecisive, maybe it's all too late. Maybe I'm just done fighting, maybe. Oh, maybe I'm indecisive, maybe it's all too late. Maybe I'm just done fighting. It's all too late. It's all too late. All too late. It's all too late. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I'm falling down. Maybe it's me in my head and I can't get it out. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I'm falling down. Maybe it's hazy. Oh, I almost touched the ground. Touched the ground.
Hello guys, Termex here, and welcome back to another New World build video. Now I know my content is mainly bow dexterity content, but I want to do a little shift because it's very similar to bow, and it's probably the next thing I will do next to bow, and that is going to be the Blunderbuss. This thing is really strong this season, and I just want to showcase how good it can be with a pretty off-meta setup using light armor and sword and board. I know, it's a little weird. A lot of people have been DMing me about this build saying, what the hell am I doing? And I'm here to explain it to all of you guys. But really quick, a lot of people are funneling into the channel. If you guys want to subscribe, it means a lot. We're about to hit 30,000 freaking subscribers. I never do this, but click the sub button if you keep coming back, and let's hit that 30K. I love you. Alright, so first of all, what are we going to be using? Well, if we want to use sword and shield in light armor, unless you're going to run a empty armor slot, which I do not recommend, you are going to need the featherweight, which is a light piece of chest wear that has no weight to it, allowing us to actually have a lot more armor than normal. Because right now I have all light gear, but my boots are heavy and I'm rocking a round shield and I'm still in the light load, which is really nice as we have 1,000 physical resistance and it helps out quite a bit. Now in terms of armor perks, when it comes to this build, you almost want to play it like a ranged bow player, as we do have sword and board, we do have the Blunderbuss, which you would argue are both two pretty close range weapons. You're pretty agile to the point where you don't need to full on spec like slash or strike. I'm actually running no strike right now, a little bit of slash, but you really don't need that spec whatsoever because you're gonna have so many abilities to get out of those situations that I will show you. But the most important things right now in any build, in any meta, is going to be health, enchanted ward. Grit ward's not gonna really give us any benefit because we're not running 350 con, and sword and board doesn't have any grit properties to it unless you're using like reverse backstab. So getting armor for the build really isn't too bad. I would just recommend whatever you're going to do, make sure it has health in some sort of enchantment ward. I would almost even want to say like fire conditioning if you guys want to go into something like that or anything along those lines, but enchanted ward generally is the safest option because it allows you to resist many different things and not really just target one specific thing. But the shield is where it really does matter. We need this specific perk, which is accelerated resolve. After triggering defender's resolve, increase our movement speed by 34% and incoming healing by 14%. This is pretty good, and I want to explain why. Your movement speed is going to be absolutely insane. When you pop this, you're going to get that haste, and you're gonna be fast, man. You're gonna be kiting people, and you have the light rolls, and you can switch over to your Blunderbuss, get even more distance, switch back, do a lunge. Your movement is absolutely insane. And I would almost argue, do not even bother playing with this build unless you can get a round shield that has accelerated resolve. As for the sword, we have empowering leaping strike just for more damage. We have sure footing, so our push and pull distance is reduced, and we move a little bit faster while blocking. It just makes the whole build more agile. Shirking arcane, it could really be anything else. Attunement, keenly jagged, anything else other than shirking arcane. I just know that sure footing and empowering leaping strike are two very good perks on the sword, and they fit this build's agility perfectly. And here's where we get into the controversial one, and that's going to be the Blunderbuss. Why are you not running attunement? Why are you not running a fire gem conversion? We are not really using that much intelligence, and I'm not really focusing entirely on the Blunderbuss. If I was focusing entirely on the Blunderbuss, I would probably run less con, 150 int, 350 strength, and this build would be playing a whole lot different. I'd probably use rapier, and if you guys want to see that type of build where I'm solely focusing on Blunderbuss, let me know in the comments down below. But the reason this works so well on this build, enchanted is whatever, keen is whatever, but Venturing Claw Shot. This one weapon perk is single-handedly making Blunderbuss so amazing right now. It gives you a 41% in power until your next hit or for 3 seconds after you get a 10-meter pull or more, which is insane because 10 meters isn't as far as you think. I mean, if we're looking over here, 10 meters is right to that, let's see, this chair right here. That, from me to that chair, that's 10 meters. That is not far at all. That is very, very close. And if you can get that pull, you go in there, pop them with your Azov shot or just a light attack, anything, and you're going to be doing crazy damage. And if you couldn't tell by now, this build is mainly targeted for like a more pseudo-assassin playstyle. Are you going to get top damage on the leaderboard? Probably not. But you're probably going to be getting a lot more kills because this build excels at confirming kills. I never really made a build on the channel that's targeted towards a very specific playstyle, but this is probably one of them because it allows you to do some things that traditionally would get you killed. If you were running Great Axe and Blunderbuss trying to do this, you would get caught up, you would get pulled, you wouldn't have any means of getting out of there. You may have charge, but when charge is gone, what are you really going to do? You have the leaping, you have the shield bash to get people off you, you have the resolve to be a little bit tankier, heal off of it, and get that movement speed from our perk. There's just so much mobility going for this build. As for the elemental gem splits, we are running almost 30% fire resistance because fire staffs are pissing me off, like borderline overpowered. I might make a video on it, or maybe I'm just a person that's complaining too much, but fire staff right now is unnecessarily so good. I even ran medium armor with like 30% fire resist, and I'm still getting absolutely destroyed. I don't know what it is. It might just be empowering fireball because I have so much resistance. I get fireballed, it takes like 5,000 health away from me, then they pillar of fire and I'm just like nearly dead if I don't dodge at the right times. But maybe that's the trade-off with fire staff, because without fire staff's abilities it's kind of just the little pea shooter. But we're running that. We're running 18% thrust ward, which you could go higher if you wanted to, or feel free to move these around. You don't have to listen to me when it comes to these resistances. If you play a little bit differently than I do, of course you're going to want to do different things, but I like to play more at range and kite people when I play, so I don't really care that much about the upfront damage. If you do, I would recommend Void Resistance because Abyss is running rampant, and of course you want Slash. I wouldn't worry about Strike Resistance on any light armor build because if you get hit by the hammer, you're probably dead anyway. For the Heart Runes, I would recommend Stone Form because you want to get out of situations and it will just help you with your survivability, but if you're not a big fan of Stone Form, you could really never go wrong with something like Bio Bomb or even Detonate for that matter. It just really depends on what you guys want to do, but I would try out Stone Form first, see how you guys like it, and then swap over to some others if you feel like it's not fitting your playstyle with this setup. For the amulet, we have Shirking Dot Cleanse on medium armor. Ignore that. I was rocking this with medium armor originally, and I didn't like the lack of mobility, so that's kind of a dead perk. But we have Empowered, giving us longer lasting Empower by 34%, and that's going to be really nice because the Empower from that counts to the Blunderbuss perk, meaning that instead of 3 seconds, I'm pretty sure we're getting like 4.5, almost 5 seconds with the Empower, which is really nice. It helps out so much for plotting out those shots, and you don't feel as rushed trying to use this build. And of course flame protection, because like I said before, fire staffs could suck my wee. We have this ring called the Privateer's Heirloom. This is actually from the Gypsum Kiln, and I believe it's from the Barnacles Expedition. Maybe I'm wrong, but I crafted this there. It has Hardy for our second dodge without draining. Slash damage is going to benefit our sword greatly because I feel like sword, even at 350 strength, still doesn't hit that hard, so I wanted to give it a little bit more oomph. But like I said, if I was going to run a actual Blunderbuss build, I would probably put fire damage. If you want to see a Blunderbuss specific build, guys, please let me know in the comments. I could definitely make that happen. And of course we have Purifying Heart Rune. We lose all of our debuffs when we activate our Stone Form, which is just very nice in tandem with each other. And finally we have Endless Thirst, because for some reason you fill up on artifacts and you can't do the new quest until you upgrade the other ones at the kiln, which is 500 dark matter each. I think it's really stupid and I hope they fix it, but all this is for is I needed an earring, and the main thing I wanted was to pop potions because I want to be self-sufficient. I tried Ankh with the amulet. I just didn't like the lack of resistance, and I love the Empower lasting a lot longer. You could always slot this out for something different, and I would recommend maybe Regenerating or even Nimble if you wanted to. For the attributes, we are running 350 strength and 127 con. I would recommend only going up to 110 con because 110 con is going to make you pop a 40 con food. I have just been running into to the gear issue, and it's very, very annoying. But you'd want to put those 17 points over onto the top with intelligence, and you would get the 100 intelligence pip with damage to light and heavy elemental attacks. In the gameplay, I am actually using the 100 intelligence, but I have low con. So you have to remember, I'm not as tanky as you could be with this build in the clips, but generally speaking, you're going to want to do that. So once again, you want to aim for 350 strength, 100 intelligence, and then the rest into con, which should set you pretty damn close to being at 150 con when you pop a 40 or the new 48 con food. For the build, sword and board, pretty damn simple. We have the leaping strike and the leadership for the more damage. Over into the defender, we have our defender's resolve, of course, with the reduced damage from elemental attacks and the physical armor bonus. We have shield bash. The 3-second stun is just amazing. It has grit, and even if they have max freedom, it's still going to give you a second to pull off your ability. You're going to shoot your blunderbuss regardless of what they have, unless they're the dexterity with the 350 pip where they could just leave it. Then of course that's going to happen, but you don't have to worry about that too much because the cooldown is quicker than their cooldown. And then the blunderbuss. The blunderbuss is really straightforward. We have the grenades doing a bunch of fire damage. We have claw shot, of course, to go in tandem with our empower, and then the shrapnel blast doing a bunch of damage, and then the capstone, where the next shot fired within 6 seconds of triggering a ability will have 8 pellets instead of 6, which is really freaking nice. But that's it, guys. If you want to know the cycle, what I traditionally do is I pop defenders right away, I leap into them, let them waste a dodge, do that, shoot this at their feet so you know when they're about to pop it, do that, make some distance. If you notice they run, leap towards them, get those bullets on them, and honestly, really fun build. Is it going to be meta? Probably not, but I like to cover more fun off-meta things on the channel, as well as the meta things, and this was just too fun to not share. If you guys want to try this out, you definitely can. If you have any advice with this build or any ideas, feel free to share them in the comments down below. Thank you guys so much for the support recently on the videos. It truly does mean a lot. And if you want to stick by the channel, make sure you hit the like button down below because it spreads out my content to more people in the New World community. And don't forget to subscribe so you never miss out on another video from me, guys. Stay safe, and I'll see you all later.